Yo, 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 yo. What up, what up, what up, people? And welcome back to another edition of Mike on Sports. I am your host. I go by the name of Mike Gross, man. Big ups to that 501 and 317 Little Rock, Indianapolis. We are in the building. And I'm back with another one, man. More boxing talk. But I got a special guest today, man. Very, very special guest, man. This guy has been helping me a lot ever since I decided to branch off and do my own thing. But without further ado, man, big ups, EJ Boxing Live. What's going on, homie?
Yo, what's going on, Mike, man? What's going on, Mike, and the people in the chat, man? Nice to come over. Mike, in my debut on Mike's show, man. So, yo, much appreciated, bro.
Man, I appreciate all the love you've been showing me, man. Really, really do mean a lot to me, you know what I'm saying? This boxing community it's small, but it's big at the same time. So I do appreciate that.
No doubt. No doubt.
Let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. What we talking about today, you guys? Let's see. Where should I start first? Should I start first with the Wilder Fury news? Or should I start with? You know what? I'm gonna give a guy his just due. We ain't talked about him in a while. We ain't brought him up in a while. Gennady Golovkin. He's set to, I guess, be facing Canelo since the Billy Joe Saunders fight did not go as planned. I think they got Canelo and him set for Dallas in September. But Teddy Atlas came out and had some interesting things to say about Gennady Golovkin. He thinks that at this point in time, Gennady Golovkin is a shot fighter, and he really doesn't. He really thinks that the trilogy happened too late. What do you say to that, EJ?
He's got a point. But like, still, there's still some demand for it. So I guess the people want to see it. I mean, Roy Jones Jr.
It's not about the demand for the fight. You know what I'm saying? We know that Canelo and Triple G are gonna sell tickets. They're gonna do good numbers. But I want to just stick on the fact that Teddy Atlas said that Triple G is a shot fighter and he don't think that he really has a chance. Matter of fact, let me I'll give you the article right quick, everybody out there. Give y'all the proper quotes. Share it on my screen right quick. Because I don't want to just be talking off the ass and not giving you guys, you know what I'm saying, the proper shit. Let me take it, Gennady off the screen. Hey, man, this StreamYard is cold, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I really do like it.
Told you, man.
Yeah, it's nice. Very easy to use.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Let me see. Let's start with the Zone Inc. Both fighters we know what I'm saying. Both fighters got a lucrative deal. You know what I'm saying. Canelo got his money. Gennady got his money. Golovkin, who will be 38 next week. Damn, he'd be 38 next week. Damn. Has further agreed planned the waiting game. If you heard a giant sigh of relief somewhere, it's coming from the Zone, John Skipper, and other executives when finally we think the third fight is done. Atlas opinionated on his show, The Fight Game with Teddy Atlas. Maybe it's going to save a few people's job over there. They have it. They actually do this fight hunker down, and it actually does happen. So that's the good news. Here's the bad news. The bad news is it's too late. Time has passed. People have moved on. I don't know the interest in that fight anymore. Right there, man. Teddy, I think there is, like EJ said, there is a lot of interest in that fight, man. I think when you put the guys like Gennady Golovkin and Canelo in the ring, two big stars in the sport of boxing, I think you're gonna bring in a lot of casual fans that remember the first two fights. And some people think Gennady got jabbed in both fights.
Yeah. Like I was saying before, end of the day, yeah, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. If there's the demand for the fight and it can generate money, which it can, then they're gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? And even if Teddy Atlas does feel what he's basically trying to say, he don't think Triple G has a chance in the fight. He feels like Triple G is gonna get embarrassed, and maybe he's trying to say that's bad for his legacy. But like I told you before, when Roy Jones fought Bernard Hopkins, even though at the time when Hopkins was Roy Jones was pound for pound, as Bernard Hopkins started to come on later in the latter years, like there was some sort of demand for the fight because of what happened before, right? So in this kind of what this be the third fight, the rubber match. You know, he because you got to understand, like Teddy Atlas is a fan of a certain fighter. He's a fan of Golovkin. So you look at it in context. What he's trying to say is that, well, if you go in that fight, you're just going to ruin your legacy. That's what he's trying to say. It definitely does generate money, but the bottom line is that if each fight you're in them sort of fights, where's your stand? He's already stand, because remember they were trying to say this guy was better than Marvin Hagler, better than Carlos Monzon and some of the great middleweights of before. So now everyone knows he ain't even there. So now if he lose this fight, where he at? You see what I'm saying? So I think Teddy Atlas is more common on the fact that he appreciated Golovkin. He was a fan of Golovkin, and he's trying to say that, well, he's shot compared to what he would have, and he doesn't feel like he's got a good chance of winning. That's why I feel where he's talking about.
Why are we as boxing analysts and like boxing fans so hard on Golovkin? You know what I'm saying? I know he had a tough fight with Derevyanchenko. He looked kind of iffy against Steve Rhodes, even though he was able to get the knockout. But it just seems like those two fights aren't the fights that he particularly like can get up for. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes like Derevyanchenko got up for him. I'm not quite sure if Gennady got up for Derevyanchenko, and I've been like a big Gennady, you know what I'm saying, not supporter, but antagonist for a while. But I just think that we as fans are looking past what Gennady is. Like Gennady has a good ass chin, and Gennady can punch. At the end of the day, like he can punch. So with those two things, like I don't think that the fight happened too late. I still think there's fan interest in this fight, and I don't know, man. I'm not agreeing with Teddy Atlas, man.
Well, this is the thing, right? You know, in terms of like what you just said there is absolutely right. But the Golovkin's dealing with a lot of things. Remember, he changed his trainer from Abel Sanchez, and he's got a new trainer, Jonathan Banks. And you're right. Some of the fights, to be fair, it wasn't really the fight that the fans want to see. But at the same time, you're a marquee fighter. You're supposed to represent. And Golovkin usually does that. But when he was with Abel Sanchez, it worked well. You know what I mean? And they fell out. So he's got a new trainer style. And maybe that as well. And the opponent didn't really suit him. And you know, there's a lot of things going wrong. But people, you know, the thing is like, Mike, when people lose, there's always excuses. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to the Golovkin to bounce back from the adversity, because it is adversity he's coming back from. He lost a close points decision. He changed his trainer, and you know he ain't looking particularly good. So I think from them few things, Teddy Atlas is basing it on that. But having saying that, when Teddy Atlas was training Michael Moorer to face George Foreman back in the days, you know, he was the champion, and George Foreman, most people didn't think of a shot, and he won. So boxing's like that, you know. Even though one guy could be a heavy favorite, doesn't mean he's going to win the fight. So I think what Teddy Atlas is bearing in the factors of the trainer, bearing in the style of the opponent. And you're right, maybe he underestimated the opponent. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's bearing in them factors. But he's a huge big fan of Golovkin, and I think that, you know, where Golovkin's stats is for Golovkin to maintain where he is in the middleweight, because it's gone so far down. Ain't no one trying to say he's near Hagler or Monzon or anything, but they were saying that before, right? He was better than all of them, so they ain't saying that no more. But as he keeps fighting on in these fights, he's where he's been ranked is going to be further down. So I think he's trying to protect the legacy of Golovkin by saying that, and also trying to say that maybe coming out there and saying Golovkin's going to lose. Maybe Golovkin sees that and says he's going to prove everyone wrong. So it might work in Golovkin's favor, hearing that he's going to underdog, because he's always been the favorite as well.
That goes to the HBO hype machine that had everybody believing Gennady was that killer. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Knocking out Curtis Stevens and beating up on Willie Monroe and what's the other guy, black guy named Dominic Wade.
Yeah,
so, yeah, man, I see what you're saying. But going back to these quotes from Teddy Atlas, he says Golovkin showed the heart of a warrior that he is versus Derevyanchenko in October. He wasn't right. Was it because he was sick? Was it a fluke? Was it an anomaly? Or was it that Golovkin is now an older fighter, a higher that has left parts on him in the ring? What the hell is an older fighter, a higher that has left parts on him in the ring and parts of himself in the first two Canelo fights? Okay.
Yeah. What do you mean by that? Go ahead.
I was going to say, look, every fighter goes in the ring. He's not the same fighter as he, you know what I'm saying, a win in the ring as he come out. So everybody leaves a little something in the ring. I think Teddy is just trying to make a escape or a loophole for if Gennady gets knocked out, or he can point back and say, "Oh, I told you so." He's an old fighter. He's not the same fighter that he was, or something like that. I just don't like the excuses Teddy Atlas is making for Gennady right now.
Yeah, he's making. Yeah, he's setting it up to. I mean, if Golovkin was to win, it was like, oh man, he proved me wrong. But I guess it's, what analysts really do. They set the scene to paint a picture. So he ain't gonna tell you that what most people are thinking. I think most people are thinking what Teddy's saying. But at the same time, I understand that this is all about building the fight, hyping the fight, talking about it. But is he trying to say it's going to be competitive? I don't know. It's up to Golovkin, but coming into the fight before,
saying it, bro. I'm reading the shit. He says, I thought those fights against Canelo took a lot out of Golovkin, and I think 400 amateur fights takes a lot out of you. And I think when you're at that age that he's at, what is he now? 38. He's getting up towards that number 40. I always say you don't judge a fighter's age and his toughness business chronologically. You judge them by the tough fights they've been in. He's only been in like 2 tough fights at Teddy, right? With 3, Jacobs was pretty tough one. Like I had Jacobs, saying possibly could get a victory or a draw in that fight, but he's only been in 3 tough fights. It's not like he's been in barn burners. Well, 4 if you count the Derevchenko fight.
Well, hey, listen, if Teddy's up, all right, for his opinion, but at the same time, like I said to you, he's setting the scene. Either way, like if he could be right or he could be wrong, but end of the day, the fight does make money, and in the day, boxing prize fighting is about the prize, and the prize is the money. So, however, Golovkin, he can turn up, like you said, maybe underestimated the guy he fought previously. So if he comes in and he's on his game, maybe he might surprise some people. He might do.
Last quote coming from Teddy. In the Derevchenko fight, Golovkin looked like a shot fighter. Yeah, I said it. You people that want to get your knives out now and your bow and arrows ready, how dare you say that about my guy? It's called father time. It's called nature. It's called aging. And it comes to all of us. But we all don't have to fight for a living. When the truth comes to you in the ring, the truth can hit you, bang, hard and fast. So he feel like Golovkin look like a shot fighter against Derevchenko. Damn, like I wouldn't expect Teddy to like say that about Golovkin. You know what I'm saying? I thought he said he was sick or something like that. Not him being a shot fighter.
Well, he did look pretty bad in that last fight, man. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. I ain't seen my guy Deej. What up, Deej?
Yo, what's up?
How's it going, big guy?
Yeah, you good?
I'm great, man. Your audio sounds a lot better than it did yesterday, man. We're just sitting right now talking about a little Gennady Golovkin and him possibly being a shot fighter. Teddy Atlas thinks that against Derevchenko, he looked like a shot fighter. He says father time has caught up with him. What do you say to that?
Boy, do you know what? I don't know if Golovkin was really ever a properly tested fighter outside of those Canelo fights. So I don't know. It's really hard for me to judge Golovkin, to be honest. I'd like to say that we haven't seen the best of Golovkin yet. But
whoa.
He could be right.
You said we ain't seen the best of Golovkin yet?
Well, I think you've got to be fighting the best fighters. I mean, where's his fight against Jacobs? Saunders, Andrade. Well, all
Jacobs
those guys. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, he did. Of course, he did, and it knocked him down. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think there's like a lot more to come from Golovkin. I understand that they won that 3rd fight. But,
I don't know, man. He's 38 years old. You know what I'm saying? I do believe in father time. You know what I'm saying? I do believe he's out of his prime. I don't know if we see a better Golovkin than we did again in the first Canelo fight. I think that they may have been his crowning point. You know what I'm saying? And they're with a tough fighter, and some people thought he was able to get the victory. To say that we ain't seen the best Golovkin yet, what the fuck is he waiting on, Deej?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. What is Golovkin's best performance?
Best performance, man. You probably gotta look at like Curtis Stevens, know what I'm saying? Highlight knockout on HBO. You gotta look at like a Dominic Wade, you know what I'm saying? Maybe what's the guy's name that Matthew Macklin, he stopped him with a body shot, you know what I'm saying? That UK guy. I mean, he got some things under his belt, but when it comes to like the elite, like the top, like Jacobs and Canelo, it's always a little. The fight could have went this way, and the fight could have went that way. You know what I'm saying?
I think Canelo 1 is Golovkin's best performance at an elite level. Probably just full stop. I think he won that fight too. But Father Time, I don't know. I think he's still got something. He's still got something to give, definitely. But man, I just hate to see it from fighters when they go through their whole career and they had so much potential. And
that's what happens in boxing, Deej, when you're not the A side. When people recognize you as being a threat and you're not as popular as them, they can age you out in boxing. They can just wait. They can say, we gonna fight somebody else. Oh, I'm not moving up to 160 right now. I'm staying at 155 and I'm fighting these guys. I'm not a 160 pounder yet, you know what I'm saying? So guys he just fought Jacobs. He looked kind of suspect. Okay. He just fought Brook and he looked kind of suspect. Okay, now it's time to go get him. Like that's what guys do, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying any names, I'm not pointing any fingers, but if you know boxing, then you know exactly who I'm talking about.
No, you're 100% right. And I think there's a bunch of fighters we can actually point the finger at right about now and say, you're in the danger of going down the same road as Golovkin now.
Absolutely.
I dare say Saunders is in the same spot.
Saunders, maybe even Terrence Crawford, even though Terrence Crawford got the accolades, he ain't got that big name yet. You know what I'm saying? He needed Earl Spence, he needed Sean Porter, he needed Danny Garcia, he needed Keith Thurman, he needed those kind of names, he needed Kell Brook. Honestly, like I'm gonna be pushing that fight until the cows come home. Like he needs that Kell Brook fight.
You know, when this kind of crap happens to fighters, this is the only reason I think fighters should fight just outside their weight if they're good enough. Do you know these catchment fights, these fights which don't really rank you up or do anything apart from raise your profile and put some money in the bank? Because, you know, arguably Golovkin could have went up weight and beat a couple of guys up there and kept his profile high to try and make himself the A side. I think the way we've seen Canelo do it has been amazing. Not only has he made himself the A side, he's got an argument to say he's the biggest star in boxing at the moment. Not only has he fought the who's who at middleweight, he jumped up to other weights, fought who needed to fight. And when it comes to resumes, you look at him and you just say, wow, okay, you know, this is the benchmark.
Deej, I know it sounds like you like Canelo, so I'm not going to do this to you. You know what I'm saying? Today, I'm gonna let you get away with it, but he was at 160. He fought the who's who. He fought Gennady. He fought Jacobs. That's it. There was a guy who was supposed to be his mentor, Jamal Charlo, an up and coming lion, a guy who's not old like Gennady, a guy who's not lost twice like Jacobs, a guy who's undefeated, who is your mentor, who is waiting in line for his WBC mandatory shot, and you guys go and petition the WBC to be elevated to the franchise champion. Are you really fighting the who's who? You go up to 168 for a WBA regular belt, not the real title that Callum Smith got, and you fight a guy in Rocky Fielding. Rocky Fielding, man, Rocky Fielding. Who he beat?
Nah, it's hard to argue.
Then he lose to goddamn me, my guy, Frank Buglioni.
No, when you put it like that, it's hard to argue. But I think when careers are over,
Oh, of
And
course.
you're
When they go back
comparing
down in
resumes of
history and they
fighters.
see the accolades, oh, Canelo jumping 175, 168, started at 146. Oh, of course. But they ain't gonna know the fucking details about fucking Kovalev been having a rehydration clause in his contract. They ain't gonna know those kind of details, man. Like, I believe in the sport of boxing, if you're able to make weight, by golly, you can put on however much hydration or weight or whatever you want to put on in those 24 hours. If you're able to make weight, if you're not, then hey, you know what I'm saying? Then you're not a professional. But you can't tell somebody that, hey, man, you could come in the ring only 10 pounds more than what we weighed in. What kind of shit is that? What kind of
Yeah, I
fight is
don't
that?
like that. I don't like that. You know, I'm not a Canelo fanboy. Don't get me wrong. I think a couple of his fights where he's got the nod, I felt like these were close fights. I thought Cotto was a close fight where it could have went either way. But the end of the day, even the Mayweather loss is on his resume. So it's kind of like he's got big, established, brilliant names on his resume.
Hold on, Deej, right there.
One loss.
Say that thought right quick, Deej. Got somebody else on the stream. Battle rifle, man. Battle rifle. Who is this? Talk to me. Battle rifle going once. Battle rifle going twice. If you know what I'm talking, I will kick you out. Battle rifle going 3 times. I want to me kick you from the studio right quick. Nah, he be all right. All right, Deej, back to you, big dog. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, when we look at, you know, the consensus of what makes a great fighter great, I think that's one of the things we automatically go to straight away. You know, who they fought. You know, have they been in there with risky fights? Have they fought the guys, you know, at the top? You know, with something to offer. And, you know, yeah, you're right. Canelo is Ye's side, and he puts in all these clauses, which makes it unmanageable for them fighters. You know, he doesn't go down in weight to fight Khan. He doesn't level the playing field there. But when a fight like that's made, it's billed like, well, this guy's got the fastest hands in the game, sort of thing. But yeah, you're right. All the advantages are on Canelo's side when it comes to all these fights. But
that's just part of being the A side, D. That's just part of being the A side. I do kind of want to change gears right quick and talk about this George Foreman story that came out today. George Foreman comes out and says he gives Wilder another chance. He can beat Fury easily. He was on TMZ, you know what I'm saying? I think him and Wilder been going back and forth, corresponding. Let me go ahead and screen share this right quick, you know what I'm saying, so the people can see it and give you guys the proper quotes. Let me see, where is that? Yeah, right there. Make sure you people can see it. There we go. I'm gonna get Gennady off the screen. There we go. Let me read the story right quick, Deej, and we can break it up and chop it down when we get these quotes. Former 2-time heavyweight champion George Foreman revealed that he consulted with Wilder in the aftermath of the technical knockout loss to Fury back in February in Las Vegas. Wilder suffered his first career defeat and lost his WBC heavyweight crown. We all knew that. Blah, blah, blah. Foreman explained that he suffered the same type of defeat when he was stopped by Muhammad Ali during the Rumble in the Jungle, which saw Foreman lose his title and suffer his first career defeat. There is now a third fight coming, and Wilder is exercising an immediate rematch clause. The trilogy bout is being targeted for a date in early October. It was initially pegged for July, but then pushed back due to the ongoing corona pandemic. And hopefully everybody is out there being safe, you know what I'm saying, keeping clean and just using social distancing, you know what I'm saying? But back to the story. George said, I had a nice conversation with Wilder. Nice conversation with him. We talked because I was in a position where I lost unexpectedly in the title in Africa. Only I know what he's going through. He's going to have to live with the Fury loss, but I can't show him how to live with that and come back better. We talked a lot on those lines. Foreman believes Wilder, with the correct adjustments, can beat Fury and he can win the fight, win the trilogy in style. Not only beat him, Wilder can do it easily. Give him another chance, he'll show you. So Big George, hold on, let me see this guy right here is. What's going on, Battle Rifle? Who is this? Talk to me, man. You're on mute. Get off mute. Can you hear me? Going once.
Yeah, what's up?
What's up? Who this?
Name itself, Battle Rifle. Saw the stream link in the Hangout and I clicked on it.
All right. What's so tell me your background, man. First of all, how did you feel about the Wilder and Fury second fight?
Pretty straightforward. I thought, Tyson Fury did what he had to do. Wilder didn't look as prepared enough, and just he did what he had to do. The glove gate is a whole other story in itself.
Yeah. I don't really want to touch on that particular topic right now until we get some real wheels behind it. But George Foreman came out and said, "Hey, man, if he trains with me, I can get him right." Well, not if he trains with me, but he had a conversation with him, and if he makes the proper adjustments, I can get him right, and he can beat Fury easily in a trilogy. Do you think with the proper adjustments, Wilder can get his crown back?
I mean, yeah. I mean, he has the power. I mean, usually if he hits people, it's just a straight knockdown for almost every time he hits people. When he hit Tyson Fury clean in both times, the rematch, he knocked him down. So it's not a question of like, does he hit hard enough? We already know he hits hard enough. It's
we seen him hit him clean in the first round twice in the second fight.
And I mean, I don't think it was clean.
Big dog. I'm telling you, I watched that fight 2 or 3 times. Them punches, I was like, oh.
I think it's one of those shots where it's like mostly like it's more or less like a glove punch in a sense. Like it might sound kind of crazy, but you know how there are some shots where it will graze the very first part. I'm sorry.
And you catch the end of the glove. You know what I'm saying? Like you're at the end of the punch, so it really doesn't land as hard as if it impacted you with the whole fist.
Basically, yeah, and like he just have to know how to set up his punches better, and I feel like he needs to know how to fight in the clinch a little better because that was his biggest downfall. But I don't think he really needs to fight on the clinch if he really is not good at it, because I mean he managed to do it the first time. He managed to knock Tyson Fury down twice. He just needs to know how to set up his punches better. But I will think the golden thing he can do is work on his inside fighting.
Oh well, my audio's gone.
What about you, Deej? Do you think Big George can make the proper help? Can Wilder make the proper adjustments to beat Fury in the third fight?
Interestingly enough, after everyone's kind of broke down this fight, a lot of people have been giving Wilder a lot of criticisms about his boxing style, and what is in his game and what isn't in his game. And one of the constant things we keep on hearing people say is he's not going to be able to learn those adjustments so soon. But now we've got this big stretch to the fight. I'm wondering if this is actually a perfect storm for Wilder. If he gets a long, lengthy camp to actually work on some things. Because let's face facts, he's not going to become a better boxer than Fury, but he just doesn't need to do that. He just needs to learn a couple of adjustments, which at least are going to catch Fury off guard. I feel like
let's all play trainer right quick, man. Let's all play trainer. I know we're not real trainers in real life, but let's all play trainer.
Yeah.
What adjustment would you tell Wilder to make in the trilogy fight? Starting with you, Deej.
I think what Wilder needs to sort of snap out of is the teeing up of the shots. because Wilder has a definite tell where he feels somebody out with the shots, he gets the distance. I think that has to go. That has to go. He needs to work on a different way of executing his shots and making that mental space, even if it means that he has to dodge and hold the shots and use the other person's reach to calculate when he's in range. That's one of the things I'd like to see him do. I'd like to see him do a little bit more leg work as well and movement too, because he's very capable of winning that fight. Honestly, he's very capable. Those are the two initial things I'd like to see him do. Personally, I don't know what your man Battle
What
Cat.
about you, Battle Rifle? What do you think Wilder should do in the rematch? Like, what adjustments, if you were a trainer, you know what I'm saying, what do you tell him to make? I guess he ain't there. Now, look, what I would tell Wilder to do is, like, even though he's loading up with that right hand, he's always throwing it one place. He's always throwing it one place. He's throwing it to the head. Why not throw that right hand to the body? Shoot that motherfucker to the body. Shoot that bitch to the shoot that bitch to the chest. You know what I'm saying? Like, do not be so telegraphed where Fury can see it coming, because only thing Fury is doing, he's ducking or he's moving his head back. You know what I'm saying? He's getting out of the range of the shots. So if you're Wilder, man, you gotta recognize that and start going to the body, and not even going to the body. You might have to start using that left hook going to the body also. I think inside fighting is not his forte, but being that he is the smaller fighter in this fight, he's going to have to possibly double up on that jab to get inside to shoot that right hand. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to have the reach advantage. So, yeah, with those two little minor things, and like you said, more movement, more strength in his legs, I think. And with this coronavirus, man, hopefully he's training like a madman right now. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like a blessing in disguise. You know what I'm saying? You get to heal up and you can get more time training to focus on one guy. So I think, yeah, man, if he can make those adjustments and his team and his corner can give him more instructions, like during the rounds and during the fight, then I think he can go out and win. Easily though, George, like I want to go back to that. Easily though, George, like, with all due respect to Wilder, man, Fury ain't no bum. Fury ain't no chump. He ain't no pushover. He coming to fight two different kind of ways. He can box. He can mug you. We seen it in the last fight. So for me to say it's gonna be easy, I can't necessarily ride with that.
No, not an easy fight at all. Not an easy fight at all. And if you think about George and George's own personal situation, he never really got to avenge his loss, but he still came back into the game and was great. You know, he still won titles. So, you know, it's going to be, I don't know. It's going to be a roll of the dice this next fight. Personally, I didn't really want to see Wilder go straight into it. Because I feel Wilder's destined to be world champion again, whether it takes the fight or not. I feel like if he didn't take the immediate rematch, he's going to be ranked number one by mainly across the boards anyway, and become mandatory like in his next one or two fights anyway. So, you know, the champions can't really duck him.
Yep.
Without a title. So I didn't really feel the need for him to go back, but I understand the mentality of a champion.
I was gonna say that mentality, man, the way he's been talking, like, it gave me every indication that Wilder was going to invoke his, like, I don't even know why it was even a thought from people that he wouldn't invoke his rematch clause. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy is a proud champion. He's been the WBC champion for almost 7 years, you know what I'm saying? 5, 6, something like that. So he's been very proud. WBC loves him. He loved the WBC. So it wasn't at 1 second that I thought that he wouldn't invoke his rematch clause.
Yeah. But I have to admit though, the method of which Fury beat him is, a lot for a lot of fighters to actually have to sort of deal with.
Absolutely.
But I think when you're a champion, it's different. Now, say when
Not only
Wilder
that,
beat
man,
someone in Brazil,
maybe he knows something about himself on that night that we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, who knows?
I think what's it called? I've met Wilder. I know you've met Wilder too. I think he's a humble guy, to be honest. I think he's a humble guy. I think he's a down-to-earth guy. I think even the sheer fact that his nickname is the Bronze Bomber kind of shows you that he's not afraid of shying away from having a loss, in a sense. He's bigger than that. He's built of bigger things than that. So it's natural that he'd go back in there looking to get this crown. But this is a big mountain for him to climb. I'm just glad that he's got like a bigger run-up. Because honestly, when the rematch was announced and we saw this as coming early summer, I was like, ugh, I don't know if I want to see this next fight. Now I know it's going to be later on in the year. I'm kind of excited again because I feel now we're back into the realms of having another 50-50 fight. But I don't know how you feel. How do you think the next fight goes? Personally,
Real quick, man. I forgot about the Fury story, man. Fury, I guess he got on his IG live. And pretty much, we all know at this point in time, we ain't quite sure when the fight will happen. But Fury says, I will be obliged to give him a bit more. You never tire of beating Deontay Wilder. It's one of those things you take great pride in doing. He said that to Good Morning, well, Great Morning Britain. I really did what I said I was going to do, and not many people in boxing especially say something and then do exactly what they're going to do. So I was quite proud of the performance, and I'm really looking forward to getting all this coronavirus out the way and getting the world back on track and getting back to my job. Fury's been keeping himself in great shape. We all know that. We seen him on his IG live with his wife. I was going to bed this morning, and I seen them doing the little morning workout. He says it's quite difficult because obviously I'm not allowed to go to gyms for training. However, I've been doing every morning at 9 a.m. a workout video with the World Live on Instagram. We do about a 50-minute workout. It helps me stay in shape and helps many people out there who join and from all over the world. I'm very grateful that I can and have input on helping people with their fitness and mental health problems during these lockdown times. I got parents here and the kids. Everyone goes nuts in front of the room while we're working out. So, yeah, man, I've been seeing Fury do that. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing Fury and his wife having fun on the IG live. So, big ups to Fury. But, yeah, man, he says he'll never get tired. And for a guy to talk like that, it seems like he'll always be motivated to fight a guy like Deontay Wilder for some odd reason.
Well, that's good for him. That's good for him. Honestly, at the moment, a lot of people consider Fury to be the top guy in the heavyweight division. It's hard to argue against that. But for me, I've been calling this guy a fraud for a long time.
He a fraud?
He's a fraud.
Wow. Okay.
This guy's been a fraud for the longest time. But don't let me go into that.
No. Shit. I want to know your perspective on him being a fraud.
No, I'm just telling it how I see it still. A lot of bullshit comes out of this guy's mouth. A lot of bullshit.
But isn't that just playing into his persona, his character that is Tyson Fury?
Man, I'm not comfortable with characters in the game. I think if somebody's real, somebody's real.
You don't like Floyd Money Mayweather?
Man, I like the guy as a boxer. I like the guy as a boxer. The antics outside the ring, sometimes with throwing the money around and stuff, it it's not something I really feel good about. You know, I understand that people were tuning in every day to see him and Colin McGregor in that fight. But I don't know. No, I'm just all about the fighting.
So
the
so you ain't
science.
no WWE kind of antics when it comes to boxing. Kind of okay.
No. I must admit, I've caught Broner in some headlines and had a little chuckle to myself. And then had a word with myself after, saying, "Nah, this isn't funny. You know, these guys need to get help." But and I'm quite a bit concerned when I've seen you know, Broner take all these other boxers underneath his wing too. But yeah, I'm not with the bullshit. I'm not with the bullshit, because like every time the bullshit happens, you end up with some next crap, don't you? Like people getting banned, people getting locked up, fights that you wanted to see not happening, so for some nonsense. But yeah, I've been calling Fury a fraud for ages. You know, I think literally, I don't really want to go into it.
How he's a fraud though, D. Like I can't let you off the hook. Because like you ain't telling me how he's a fraud though. Are you saying he's a fraud outside of the ring? Because inside the ring, the guy looks like he a motherfucking real deal.
All right, okay. So one of the things which really pissed me off about Fury was this claim that he was the lineal title holder, which a lot of people don't dispute, but I do. How can you retire and keep hold of a lineage? That don't make no sense.
That retirement wasn't due to him, was it was due to you, kid. They ain't wanna give him a damn verdict, right? I'm just playing.
Yeah, but he tapped out. He said, "That's it. He's done." I mean, all of a sudden, he gets up, jumps back in the game, and next thing you know, guys telling you that he's a lineal heavyweight champion in the world.
Yeah, that don't work. Honestly, I thought that was bullshit too. You know what I'm saying? I thought
that's bullshit.
You've been out of the ring 2 years. You shouldn't have a case of that. I thought if anybody had a case for it would have been AJ. Just my personal opinion.
No, do you know what? It would have been Wilder, and I'll tell you why. Because at the end of the day, when Vitaly and Vladimir wouldn't fight each other, for some reason they gave it to Vladimir, didn't they? They said, "Look, he's the long-standing heavyweight champion in the world. The consensus is he's got the lineage." My question is why the powers that be didn't wait for one of them to get beat and then have an attempt of unifying the division. You know, you could have had that unification once Vitaly was out of the way, to be honest. But they didn't want to do that. So it's like, all right, okay, we're going to give it to Vladimir, right? Okay, fine. So now you create a lineage where the lineage wasn't based and all the belts being put together. So here's your problem now. So Fury becomes the lineal champion by beating Vladimir, and they never defend.
Did you breaking up, big dog? Say that again.
Everyone, even the Ring magazine, which is supposed to follow the lineal title around, stripped Fury. So then he said he was retired. You shouldn't be able to keep hold of them belts. Now, we didn't have a lineal champion for ages, and we didn't have an active lineal boxer. So why wasn't a lineage given to the most long-standing heavyweight champion, which would have been Wilder at the time?
I'm not sure, bro. I think at that point in time, it wasn't a clear indication. Even though people had
you know, it's kind of like why are some of these guys getting some special treatment?
Became champion, and there was still AJ out there who beat Charles Martin, who you know what I'm saying, who got his belt. Then he beat, I forgot who he beat after he beat Charles Martin. He beat somebody else. Then he fought Vlad. So it was just like, hey man, like all this is like still in limbo, and that's why the Ring magazine didn't have that belt out for the longest. You know what I'm saying? Like that belt was in a hiatus for almost 3 or 4 years.
I'm just saying, if you've got no lineal champion for over 12 months, and you've got a world heavyweight champion who's been world heavyweight champion for over 4 years, and you can't hand him the lineage, that's ridiculous. Or you couldn't,
and
or you
honestly,
couldn't give the unified champion
at the time, nobody was talking about lineage. Like people weren't talking about that shit, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
came
saying.
back with that talk. You know what I'm saying? And everybody, like all the media, all the Frank Warren and Bob Arum, they started pushing it, and ESPN started pushing it, and they having 12-round fights with no bet on the line, but they still having 12-round fights. It's just like, okay, I guess he is a lineage. Like people just kind of accepted it.
Accept it. That's what I mean. They just accept it. So when the guy comes back and he fights Safiri and who do you fight? Safiri and Pianetta.
Hey,
Them two fights.
that nigga Fury out here fighting Pianetta and Safari, bro, on the comeback.
That's what I'm saying. And he goes the
That's
distance.
amazing,
One of them
man.
in Northern Ireland. You telling me like literally those guys had a sniff at the lineage, you know, where everybody else is fighting to get their whole
Bro, Fury
hands
was
on
the
some
coldest
real
motherfucker in the
titles.
world,
Real
man.
titles.
Bro,
Come on.
he literally fights nobodies before he fights Wilder. Like he's I'm not wasting my talent on nobody good. Bring me Pianetta and Safari, and then bring me Tom Schwartz and Oda Wallin. You know what I'm saying? Like bring me those guys, man.
Fraud.
I'm gonna save all my good shit for Wilder, bro. Like this guy is a legend, bro.
Nah.
He can pay a lot of money now, man. A lot of money. Man. Impressive to see him 3 or 4 years ago when he was 400 pounds and see him now. Just seemed like a total different guy, like body wise and just like personality wise too.
No, Mike, this guy's a fraud, man.
Hey man, maybe he is, and damn it, he does a damn good job at it. A damn good job.
So really, you know, everyone's out there saying, look, he's the greatest
No, I'm not
fighter
saying
out
that.
there at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not-
he
I'm
beat
not
Klitschko, he beat Wilder.
I think
But
AJ,
as far as I'm concerned,
I still give AJ a chance against Fury. I give Wilder a chance. I give AJ a chance against Fury. I don't think any 3 or 4 of those guys are just unbeatable. You know what I'm saying? I think if AJ comes in and AJ can fight on the inside, that he does things different than Wilder. Like, he can actually fight on the inside. And I think AJ has given a chance of as anybody of beating Fury.
no, I think he's got a really live chance. But the one thing I give Joshua over Fury is Fury's never defended, you know, a belt, like a physical belt. Never. So for me, you're not a champion until you defend that strap. And no disrespect to like people who got handed straps, because we've seen quite a few of them.
I mean,
he handed the strap.
In his linear title.
What's that? Yeah, he won that, but that ain't a physical belt.
I'm talking shit, dude. I'm talking shit.
They ain't a physical belt. You know, let me see you walk to the ring with that belt and walk from the ring with the same belt. You know, like a proper title defense. Not no made up business about, you know, you're the lineal title or holder or the consensus title holder or any of these other made up belts. You know, lineage. All of a sudden it was just made important. I can't remember growing up people talking about the lineal title like it was some big deal. All you wanted to see was belts. At the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Let's
go ahead and change gears right quick, man. Bob Arum, you know what I'm saying? When Bob Arum is always in the news, we got to talk about him. He's been going at who else? Who other than Dana White? You know what I'm saying? Really, Bob does not like Dana White, man. I'm just gonna be real with you, man. He's not a big fan of his. I mean, and I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where it went wrong. I don't know why Dana White doesn't like him either. But article came out on Boxing Scene, done by Keith Idec. It says Bob Arum fully understands that people are concerned with much more important issues these days than scheduling boxing events. The Hall of Fame promoter can't comprehend why Dana White hasn't taken the same compassionate, pragmatic approach to the UFC 49. The UFC president hopes to go forward with the mixed martial arts card April 18th at an undetermined venue, even if it doesn't include Russia star Khabib Nurmagomedov. Well, fuck his last name. Yeah, I can never say it.
Yeah.
White reportedly is seeking a replacement for Khabib because the UFC lightweight champion cannot leave Russia for his fight against Tony Ferguson, which had officially as sight of Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, Khabib is like on they had like flight restrictions over in Russia, so nobody over there can leave. Bob Arum says, I don't know what the hell he's doing. I don't know why, with all what's going on, with people dying, Dana White has the idea that this fight must go on. Why? What's behind it? He canceled all the fights that are on ESPN. What is about this fight, which can't even happen because the Russian guy can't even get out of Russia? Why does he have to do a show in April? There has to be some kind of economic reason. Some reason which I am not aware of as to why he's so insistent. It does not help the UFC. It does not help this company. He's making a fool of himself, particularly in a situation where people have much greater problems to deal with. People are dying. They are dealing with isolation. They're dealing with losing their jobs, dealing with business being in trouble. What is motivating him to carry it to this point? I just don't know. I can't even guess what it could be. I'm right along with Bob, man, on this one, bro. Because I'm not understanding why Dana White is out here saying like instead of quarantining and social distancing, we're trying to find solutions to the problem. Like, bro, you're not the CDC, my nigga. Like you guys should be listening like every other sports league in America, like the NBA. The NFL can't even do motherfucking physicals. Like they ain't letting they people go and do physicals because of the coronavirus. The Major League Baseball shut down spring training. NHL shut down hockey. You know what I'm saying? So why the hell does boxing shut down boxing? So why the hell does Dana White think he can get a show off, and then Khabib is not even going to be there because he can't get out of Russia? Like I'm not understanding Dana White's position.
Oh man, look. Bob's right. Bob's right on this one, but I have to put a little thing on the end of it because, like, nobody should be having these events at this sort of grave time of uncertainty when we don't know what the future might lead to come April. When we get deep into April as well. We're in April 1st at the moment. But look, let's face facts. I've got problems with both of these guys, man. Honestly. Every time I see Bob, I
don't like nobody.
No, I can't go in on some people today, man. Let's just do it.
Like nobody, man. What's going on, D?
No. Every time I see Bob, honestly, it just reminds me there's too many old people running the game in boxing. And
the man been around what 50 years, bro. He gonna be doing this shit till he
too long.
He in the, you know what I'm saying? God, well, I ain't gonna say God forbid because the man old. Till he get in the grave, like he ain't stopping no time soon.
I know, and it's a pain in the ass because what this guy needs to do now is have a mentor under his wing to take over them reins.
I'm sure he got somebody.
I'd like to see them step up, get media trained, start talking that talk, start coming with them new ideas because like these dinosaurs are killing the game. And when I see this Dana White guy, I kind of see the future of combat sports. And I hate the UFC, not with a passion. It's just not my sport. I don't really like it. I don't think the etiquette's there.
Now, when you say, hold on, real quick before we go on. When you say these old guys are killing the game, you mean they going in or they doing bad for the game?
Nah, it's just an old boys club, isn't it? It's
I
just an
mean,
old
but
boys-
for D, come on, man. Like,
no,
if we
it's a
gonna,
proper old
if we
boys
gonna
club.
be,
Look,
but look, like if we gonna be honest and like be real, like you look at all sports, all owners in sports is what they all got one goddamn thing in common, Deej.
mhm.
They all Caucasian.
Yeah.
Damn near all sports owners is about 90% of them all Caucasian.
All right. Okay. You know what I'm trying to say is literally, you know, some of these old guys there, you know, from when I was growing up, it's kind of like the same people, the same bloodlines running the sport. And it's kind of like presidents in a sense. You can't really get away from what they're building and what they're holding on to. And even though the tastes and the progressions, especially the way that people consume media changes, a lot of these people are kind of being left behind in regards to how you do things, how you build things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
they catching up though. They
they're catching up, but they're
they
losing.
bringing them young guys in to do that work for them. So they catching up. And,
Let me give you an example.
Let's be honest. Like when you look at Bob, he got Terrence Crawford, pound for pound, 1-2, however he got it. He got Vasil Lomachenko, another pound for pound. You know what I'm saying? He got Shakur Stevenson, a young up and coming guy. He got Emmanuel Navarrete. He got Tyson Fury. He got a nice little roster over there. You know what I'm saying? Like you could put his roster up against anybody's. You know what I'm saying? Like he has some good fighters.
All right, okay. Let me just make my point a little more intricate.
Go ahead.
You know, I'd say today the game is a big numbers game, and Dana White is aware of that. He's aware of the viral fighters, and literally, if you're not a viral fighter, you're not getting paid properly by Dana White. This guy's a scumbag, and literally, this is why events like your April event that you're talking about are happening now.
But you gotta understand, like just in football, like being a running back in football, you know that at a certain point, you got a cap on what you're making. Like even though you catching the ball and running the ball at the backfield, and you got big numbers, you ain't gonna get necessarily paid like a wide receiver. Like they don't do that to running backs, and that's pretty much how the whole of the UFC is. Like you know when you step in and you sign that contract, we are the UFC, so we are the brand that can build stars. You know what I'm saying? Like UFC gonna be around long after Conor McGregor is gone. It's been around long after Ronda Rousey did her thing. You know what I'm saying? The past stars like they had. What's that? Chuck Liddell. You know what I'm saying? Like all those guys like has been stars in the UFC, but it's the brand. Like anytime you have the brand, I don't think a star can necessarily be bigger than the brand. Even though Conor McGregor ain't fought. Well, he fought earlier this year, but before that, he ain't fought since he lost to Khabib, and we still had great fights in the UFC. So it's not like they're not putting on good shows and things like that, but they understand like we are the monopoly in a sense because we are the biggest brand and the best brand when it comes to mixed comeback fighting, and we're gonna make more money because there's not a union. There's not a UFC fighters association where they barter on behalf of the fighters and do business on behalf of the fighters like the NBA and the NFL and the Major League Baseball. So until that happens, these fighters aren't going to be getting paid what they should be getting paid for combat sports. Like I think it's a travesty too, you know what I'm saying, seeing guys getting paid $80,000 or $50,000 or even sometimes less than that, you know what I'm saying, for a fight. So yeah, I agree, but it's
no, this is where I'm going, but I've got an extra point on that. But Mike, I'm gonna need 20 seconds. Give me 20 seconds. Just gotta handle this phone call.
I'll take your time. But yeah, man, like I'm not opposed to the UFC doing business like that because that's been their business model from the jump. And being a fighter, like you gotta understand that as being the stipulations when you come to the UFC. Like, unless you are like a Conor McGregor and you make yourself into that kind of celebrity or that kind of star, then that big money is going to lose you from making those kind of dollars. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, I'm with Deej. You know what I'm saying? I think the fighters do deserve to get paid more, but you know what you sign up for, man. Real quick, going back to Bob Arum and Dana White. Bob Arum also has more things to say about Dana White and his boxing. Let me see. Blah blah blah. He says Arum does not expect White to make it very far in the industry for a variety of reasons, including the Sports Muhammad Ali Boxing Reform Act. Dana has been a good promoter for the UFC, but the UFC is a monopoly. He tells the fighters who are going to fight and when they're going to fight, and he pays them very little against what professional boxers get. So he's a monopolist. He is not easy for a monopolist to go into a sport like boxing, which is anti-monopolist.
Well,
We have a very hold on real quick, Dave. Let me go ahead and get reading the rest of this article. We have very little barriers of entry in boxing, and we have a lot of promoters. Everybody is looking to promote for the best way that they can do for themselves. Dana White could not exist in that type of milieu. He can only exist in an avenue where he is the dominant monopolist person, where he is the manager, promoter, rules maker for the participants, everything. I'm telling you, there is something about the operation of the UFC which is in violation of a federal law. You can't do that in boxing because the Muhammad Ali Act, which to reasons only known to, doesn't apply to the UFC. Why? I don't know. The Muhammad Ali Act at least gives the rights to the fighters, managers, and prevents a monopoly-like situation. Go ahead, Dick.
now, do you know what? Like I said, Bob's on the right side of the coin in this argument. But like I said, the guy's still a dinosaur. And like, this sport is run by dinosaurs. I think until they can see that there's money to be made with the numbers game, they change. And that's happened over the last couple of years. Over the last couple of years, the dinosaurs learned that women could draw in boxing. And let's face it, Katie Taylor, Clarissa Shields, they've got bigger names than a lot of talented boxers out there, male boxers too.
Yeah, but they
even champions.
The same though.
A lot of these old guys, they slept on that. To be fair,
but I mean, and I don't want to sound bad, but I just think I like watching female boxing. You know what I'm saying? I think it's great. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. I'm not. I'm in like a minority that I feel. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people really like seeing well, not people, but like some of the older guys in boxing really don't like to see women fights, and I really don't understand why.
No, I get that. I get that totally, 100%. But like I said, this is the numbers game generation, and I think it took a couple of people outside boxing to actually show a couple of people within boxing what you could actually do and what you could actually achieve. And I think the most important thing was when KSI made his little boxing fight with Logan Paul, and they done one without Eddie Hearn and such, and done stupid numbers, and made DAZN sit up and say, hang on, no, we need this audience. Now, even though as boxing purists, we look at that and we say that's trash, we don't want to do nothing with that. We don't want to cover that. It's ridiculous. This is a sort of forward thinking in regards to numbers and viral stars that we need to actually nurture. And I think some of the old mans in this game are all concerned about timing, perception, building, and all those sort of things. I think the whites of the world are on about, look, we've got the two hottest guys, we need to make them fight now. Now. And I think there's a lot more fight satisfaction on the other side of a pond in regards to combat sports, where the UFC guys are probably seeing the fights that they want to see them when they want to see them. Where in boxing, we're still there hoping Terence Crawford gets the super fight that we wanted to see him in for, years now.
Yeah, man, we still waiting on that shit. But that's two promoters gotta come together. You know what I'm saying? It's not a promoter. That's just two companies that gotta come together and, you know what I'm saying, do business. That's not, you know what I'm saying, one guy's fault or the other guy's fault. It's just the business hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, of course. And you know what? I'm not saying Dana White or somebody like a Dana White is the answer for that in boxing, but I think we just need some fresher thinking ideas which can make these fights happen. Because let's face facts, we're gonna get to a point where the growth of their sport is gonna strongly affect our sport.
I think the growth of their sport, you know what I'm saying, and the growth of our sport is going to benefit each other in the long run, because there's always going to be matchups with a UFC fighter and a boxer that people are going to want to see, especially if there's some kind of animosity, or if that UFC fighter and boxer become big enough to do a third of the business that Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather did. You can look at that as a success.
Do you think the UFC are going to respect boxing's biggest weekends by not putting fights on?
No, I think it's every man's dog eat dog. You seen Kovalev and Canelo, and that night Masvidal and Nate Diaz was on. So I think it's dog eat dog, man.
This is what I'm saying. And at some point, the consumer has to choose.
Yeah, absolutely. But with these streaming apps, you know what I'm saying, hopefully the choice can be a little bit easier.
Yeah,
but man,
you're
right. That's pretty much, man, all for the topics, man. You got anything else you wanna get to or say before we bounce out this thing?
Oh, nah. But good to chop it up with you, Mike, man.
Oh man, pleasure was all mine, D, bro. I appreciate you coming on, man, and getting on the show. Don't forget to smash that like button, man. Go ahead and do that for me. Follow me on IG at Gross1911 or on Twitter at Gross2312. You got any social media that you want to give out, Deej?
Nah. You can just find Deej on Twitter. That's about it.
Yeah, man. Well, we out this thing, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.
All right, take it easy.